Make
sure that head is straight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I need to get my hat guy.
I think we're on. We're live now.
We are.
Hey everyone. It's KP here again, coming to you on this Thursday. Hope all is well with you. With my two friends. Well, first of all, welcome to Dollars and Cents, and I'm here with my two friends, Keisha Johnson McKnight, and she is with RTS Financial. That's Road to Success Financial. And, you know, I've had her on doing something else, and she shared some information with us about how we can, you know, be more successful in our finances. And, you know, she talked about credit and all these different things. But anyways, we'll let Keisha say that for herself. The next person that I have on here is my good friend, Travis Affleck. Travis Affleck. We affectionately call him Wade, right? He's a trained accountant and he worked in the mutual funds industry. So we are here to talk to our community at large, to the Black community. We're here to deal with, you know, money issues, anything, you know, relating to finances. It could be big issues, it could be small things, whatever it is. We're going to talk about it. We're going to be bringing on some guests to, you know, help us navigate, you know, certain things that's floating out there. Right. So that's basically what this is. So on Thursdays around this time, you know, 1 o'clock, we're going to be talking money. So look out for us all the time and make sure that you share this. So if you're seeing this right now, share this to your Facebook page so that others can see us. All right. So guys, we're going to get into some things today. You know, you know, Keisha's going to share some things, you know, Wade is going to share some things with us, generally speaking, but some specific things. I know this is somewhat, you know, I think when we were talking about this last time, we said we're behind, or this is late information or old information, right? So we're going to talk about the CERB, right? CERB, right? And the extension of it. And
the second coming of CERB.
and the reason why we're going to talk about CERB is because a lot of people out there in our community, I can only speak for my community, the Black community, and of course, you know, we're dealing with all things Black, right? You've heard me say this in other things. We're dealing with Black folks and how we can empower our Black people. But some of our people think, guys, that the CERB or CERB is free money. I'm just quoting some voices, right? Free money from the government. Okay,
it is free until you have to pay it back.
All right, free, right? That's one. The other one has to do. What's the other topic that we're going to be dealing with? We're dealing with CERB and we're dealing with I'm trying to remember the other topic here, but anyways, we're going to start with CERB first, right? And then we'll pull it up. There's there's a credit union. Is it a credit union?
Credit union. The
credit union that talked about in our community, right? So that's where we're at. So how do we want to approach this? You want us to just drop the thing first?
Yeah, let's look at the article.
Financial things first before we get into CERB. It's very fluid in terms of how we're dealing with it. So what do you think?
The other financial things like that.
Well, Keisha was talking to us, for example, last time about credit cards and, you know, some basic tidbits, especially for young people. You know, you want to start them off right. Start them off early. So let me do it. Let me start off this way. I can tell you, you know, of course, I'm visibly Black, right? When I was growing up,
are you?
And I was what?
Are you? I can't.
You know, whatever. So when I was growing up and I had to deal with money, like one example that comes to mind is I had to open a bank account.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've never done it before. You know, my mom did a good job of raising me, but you know, I was a pretty sheltered kid, right? And I don't know, for some reason, opening a bank account was very terrifying to me, right? When I went to school, and you know, my white friends, or you know, friends, Indian friends, or you know, Asians, or whoever the individuals were from the other groups, they used to talk about money, you know, very open, honest, and you know, their parents are, you know, in the stock market, or they're using terms that I really didn't understand and comprehend. But one thing, looking back on the situation now, they were exposed to a lot of things early. And for me, yeah, I don't know if I'm off here in thinking this, but in terms of in the Black community, we were not exposed to a lot of financial information early. And then later on in life, we have to play catch up, or we're figuring it out. And
Well,
by it, we've made like some huge mistakes.
yeah. Well, it again, the exposure, it all depends on upbringing, right?
Right.
It depends on what we were exposed to, what our parents were exposed to,
Mm-hmm.
and how they feel children should relate in terms of money.
Right.
Essentially, what they do is, coming from a West Indian background, they say, "You go to school, you learn, let us worry about the money."
Mm-hmm.
And so they don't they in terms of basic budgeting, they didn't get the children involved in basic budgeting. They didn't show us how to budget. You get your lunch money,
Right.
and you make sure you it lasts you, right? One of the things that what used to happen to me, I can share my experience growing up, is that my mother or my parents, they would give me my money for the month.
Mm-hmm.
They'd give me my money for the month, and when that money is finished, and if it's finished before the month is done, then I would be in a lot of trouble. And so I guess that was her way of teaching me how to budget, because
Right.
I had to make that money last a month. You know, so there are some days that I may eat a little more lavishly, but then there's the other days I had to eat very lean, because I got to watch the money, because they have to last until I get the next payday, so to speak. And so I guess that was what they never sat me down and say, okay, this is what you do, this is how you budget, this is what you save, and so on. But
Yeah.
I guess that was their way of saying, here's the money, make use of it. And you know, when you're young sometimes and you have a whole bunch of money,
Yeah.
and you you just
spend it
like,
on a
there's
whole
nothing
lot of
that is
things.
out of your reach, because you're
Yep.
a big spender.
Yeah.
And then a couple of days later, you can't eat.
Mm-hmm. You're back to square one again. Okay.
Mhm.
Similar experience. I got allowances. I got things of that nature, but you know, in terms of the managing of it, I think you get the general advice, the general
Right.
counsel, but nothing to say, okay, put X away, you know, let's deal with the bank account and all these different things, right?
Yeah, nothing like that. I mean, I always say, even for myself, you know, some of us, we're fortunate to be brought up in a home where, you know, maybe we have those type of influences. You know, someone who might help us. If you lived in a home where someone, you know, your parent probably took part in maybe a partner draw, they, you know, maybe within that you kind of, right?
You're using
the real
tribal
way.
terms.
Partner.
You're
What's
using
that?
what's a
It's called a
partner?
partner.
So you might get some teachings from that, you know, or sometimes you might, you know, some of us are born with that natural ability when it comes to budgeting and stuff like that. Some aren't. And that's why I say for some, they might have been fortunate to be in that position where you had an aunt or uncle or someone who possibly would have took some time to sit down with you. Now, I wasn't neither of the two. And so, you know, for me, I learned the hard way with regards to, you know, saving, credit, all that stuff. When I went to Seneca College, they had credit cards, companies, the banks just lined up ready to give me a credit card, you know, and I didn't have a job or anything, and here I was signing up for that. And the rest is history, and I didn't know anything about managing that, right? So we definitely, unfortunately for a lot of us, as a culture, we don't have that teaching. We don't have that background where we can really sit down and understand what it's like to budget. And I think it's very important. And if we can kind of get that out to our youth even right now, even start earlier. As I was saying to someone the other day, that I just last week or a week and a half ago opened a bank account for my two little guys. They're 7 and 8. Right. So they're learning that principle of saving and taking out their tithes, stuff like that. So we got to start them early so that when they get to our age, it becomes second nature.
That's right.
Well,
and so they can get a poster like you have behind you with your arms
yeah.
folded.
That boss,
You know,
that boss,
the boss look. He said, "Don't mess with me."
RTS Financial, yes.
Mortgage financial. Don't take the
Sorry.
mortgage there.
Yeah.
RTS Mortgage Financial, yes. Let me also, I don't want us to all ignore the fact that we're going through COVID-19. People have lost their jobs.
Yes.
Money once again is coming into play. What kind of thoughts do you guys have that you can share about, what people should do, can do, what's up? Because of course we're gonna get into the CERB talk as well. But just generally speaking, with the COVID-19, people locked in, some have the fortunate ability of working from home, they're still getting their pay and all that. Others don't, they've been let go, right? And some of us may, even if it's not affecting us personally, we may know people who are in that category. General thoughts in terms of that, and it's affecting our. You know how it is. Usually, when these things happen, it affects the poor communities, it affects minority communities, it affects Black people, right? Specifically speaking.
One of the, you see, but even looking at pre-COVID, and but it's here now, and what it brings to light the reality of what you're saying. You should have at least 3 months worth of bills in the bank.
Oh my goodness!
Now you see what that means, what it really means in situations like this, because not having that, then it puts you in a position of say, oh my goodness, what are we going to do now? I have maybe one more paycheck coming. I have, so I guess the lesson from this is to see how individuals, how we can save and make sure that we get to that point where
we can put that away at least.
Where we can put that away. Where we can put that away. So you might have to, it's going to be a new normal in the world when this is done, when COVID is finished.
Yeah.
And so I think this is an opportunity for our people to look at having a new normal when it comes to finances as well. I don't know where that just came. That just hit me.
Yeah. It's a good thought. We like it.
So we have to adjust to our spending. We have to adjust to how we look at money and how we think. Now, another thing now, if you have some extra money sitting around, is to go invest in the stock market. But that's a whole other topic for another day.
Yes.
Right, because if you notice that the market collapsed, well, it didn't collapse, but there were a lot of hits. People are pulling their money out. Right? Why were they pulling their money out? That's what you got to ask. Why did they pull their money out? You know why? Because they made the money, so they pull it out, put it in cash, and to put it back in the market when the market is going up again.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice. Good thoughts there,
and
sir.
So they're going to make money. So the money that they made is what they're going to use to make more money.
Money again.
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So I'm talking about the new normal. What we should take from this is that we need to have a new normal when it comes to our finance. We got to be deliberate about that. Maybe we should seek out budgeting seminars or things like those, so that we can stick a budget. Because many of us, if we don't do a budget, right? The money comes in. Okay, we pay the rent, we pay the mortgage. All right, buy some food. And
It's always
okay,
going out, but there's nothing being tucked.
yes,
Right.
nothing being put away
Yeah.
for a COVID day, so
All
to
right.
speak.
Yeah. It's not a rainy day anymore. It's a COVID.
Not for the next pandemic. We talk about rainy days, but we never spoke about pandemics.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
Any other thoughts, Keisha?
Yeah, I mean, I think I completely agree with Wade. I think if anything, for this particular situation that we're in, where COVID is concerned, I do hope that we have taken some notes, with regards to not wanting to, a lot of us, to find ourselves in a position where we have no idea what's going to happen, right? We're being laid off. It was a check to check type of situation, right? So we really want to, I believe that the key phrase is position yourself, right? You really want to position yourself so that if anything happens, that you're in a position to take care of that situation, right? And even right now, in positioning yourself, there's so much opportunities that might even come out of this. As not so good as the virus is, I always say there's always a bitter end of the stick. There's a bitter end until you get the better end. Right. When we think of people, when the oil market kind of went down, I can't remember the year it was, but, when we think of people that were being let go from their jobs, for them, it wasn't great. But for those who are filling up at the tank, it was beautiful because, the gas is low even right now. Right. So someone's always going to get that bitter end of the stick. It's always kind of a cycle. So you want to position yourself. When we think of in the US, when the housing took that little dip there, if you had money, if a lot of us had money here in Canada, we might have been able to go over there and buy some properties that they're literally selling with even cars on the lot, right? So life is truly about positioning yourself so that when opportunity comes, you're able to take advantage of it. When a rainy day comes, when a COVID day comes, we're able to definitely handle it a whole lot better, for sure.
All right. I mean, love the insight, love the thoughts so far. I mean, we're about to, we can go straight to CERB, or is there any other, and of course, let's use the language. We're talking to Black folks here, right? And we're unapologetic in looking at the situation, right? In light of what we're dealing with, in our community, there are lots of things that we're battling, we're struggling, and we're trying to uplift our people. So, this is reaching out. Once again, if you're coming on, and by the way, guys, just watch the chat window. I may miss a question or two that comes in.
No one is saying anything. No one wants to chat with us.
Okay, no, it's okay. Right. Okay, so you want us to just deal with CERB right now, or?
Well, you see, with COVID, without COVID, there wouldn't be CERB. So what was CERB all about? What was that all about? I think we have to look at that, okay?
Yeah.
What was CERB meant to do?
So you guys can deal with it. You want to share the window now, or you just want us to chat about it a little bit? And
let's talk about what the intention was and how it happened and how we got to that article. Right. So we can talk about what the general perception was and what happened.
So as I said earlier, a lot of folks within the Black community, right? I know some of you have heard it, or worth saying. I think it's just some misinformation. The information is out there, but you got to read, all right, a little bit, or listen carefully, right? Or do both, right? Listen carefully and read to understand. But they're saying that the money that the government is giving is just blanket coming to us, and there's no payment or anything because COVID is here, and they're trying to help us out and all these different things. Yeah, free money. There we go. Free money. It's free money. Okay. So that's how, of course, we know it stands for the Canada Emergency Response Benefit. And since then, we're having an extension to it because things are, we're still, technically speaking, we're in, lockdown mode. We're in shutdown mode. So the government is doing their part.
Yeah. So I think we should give the government some credit.
Yes.
Shout outs to Justin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that Bieber? Or no,
No,
Trudeau.
no, Trudeau, Trudeau.
Yeah.
And also,
Right.
and to I mean, I don't want. I know for sure the NDP they've been doing a good job of, like, pushing information out there, because sometimes things are being said, so things are said, and people don't get the real meaning behind it. And the NDP, through brother Singh,
Jagmeet Singh.
Jagmeet Singh, he brings it to light, and he talks about the fact that poor folks might be penalized, and there are lots of different things mixed into it. But generally speaking, it's the initiative, on the part of the government to help out its citizens.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Wade?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Osman.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was going to say that I think it's I don't know how they're handling it stateside, with regards to how they're being relieved. But I have to say, for Canada, I am impressed. I think the government really went into action very quickly, saw the need, and it's a reality, right? There are people who let go left, right, and center, not knowing where the next dollar was going to come from.
And just to interrupt you, Keisha, it's also, of course, the United States is doing their part, but France, Germany, Italy, a lot of other countries have really stepped up, and they're even doing more than we are doing, right? Because of how things have really impacted their citizens. But continue.
Right. So, once again, as I said, I do think it's a great initiative where the need was met. We're obviously going to have to dig ourselves out of this. I'm sure, there's some negative, okay.
343 billion. Wow, that's the wow. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But it is what it is, right? It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, they could have done nothing, and the banks would have been, and not the banks, but the deficit would have been much less. So, but I think they did what they needed to do in order to keep the economy going. Right. And to make sure the families are taken care of as much as possible. And so I know that one of the things they did, they made the application process so easy.
Yes.
It was so easy. You just click, 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 boom, a couple of days, money in your bank.
Money in
free
your
money.
Free money, yeah.
Double,
That's right, right.
Confusion between the CERB and the EI, so some got both as well. Yeah.
Right. And
so,
but then later on,
while you're talking, I'm gonna share the article here. Are you guys able to see it? You can see?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this is the article that I came across, right? It's from CTV. Like I say, it's an old one. So and it says here, for up to 16 weeks, the federal government will provide those accepted for CERB with $500 per week. And then let's look at this line here. And then next year they'll take some of it back. All right. So that's what we're getting into. So in the article, it said, but by the way, a CTV news. This is it City News or City News?
Yeah,
CTV News. CTV News.
Yeah,
Ryan Flanagan.
I think Osman in the chat is responding to what we're saying. He's saying that it's printed money to keep the economy going.
Yeah. Okay. You guys can react to that a lot better than I can, right?
Well, it indeed is printed money. All money is printed.
Yeah.
All right.
But I understand where he's coming from. I understand. So what I think what he made, the way maybe going on the path, is that you're flooding the market with money. So eventually the dollars might become devalued. And so, but they will have their way of dealing with that if it's getting to that point. But for right now, if individuals don't have jobs, then there's no money coming into the economy.
Right.
Hold on. Let me just make sure I'm doing this thing. I stopped sharing for a second because it seemed like when I have you on. Okay, let's try this again here. I'm gonna pull up that
I told you need to get a Mac.
whatever. I'm trying to take it off speaker view and on gallery, but it keeps. Okay, are we okay? We see each other. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
all of us.
yeah.
It's good.
If you choose to see each other, I can
So
still see.
what some have to consider as well is that, of course, you know, the CERB will be added to your income when you're filing your taxes, right?
Exactly.
So, you know, when you're adding that, that's going to, of course, increase your income, which is something that can potentially, of course, for those who get child tax benefit, that is something that can potentially affect that as well, with
Right.
regards to possibly, you know, you getting a little bit less, depending on how your
Mhm.
taxes are filed, what you claim. You know, some might
Right.
not owe as much back or any back, depending on how your taxes are filed, right? Or what you have to
Right.
claim.
It
And
says
the other thing also is that because it's added to your income, if someone gets the full amount with the extension, that's over maybe about 16,000, if I'm not mistaken.
let's
Extra if they.
let me read a couple lines here. It says the federal government has set the lowest tax rate for 2020 at 15%. Anyone who earns 48,500 or less in total income for the year will owe tax on their CERB monies at that rate. A recipient who earns the maximum benefit of 8,000 will have to repay 1,200 at tax time. On top of this, there are widely varying provincial and territorial income tax rates, right? So from that there, are they saying what? There's a federal amount and then there's a provincial amount that's going to be taken?
Yeah, well, taken is relatively, it'll be, yeah, well, basically the provincial government are going to get their cut out of it, right? Because based on your income, there's also the provincial amount, or if you live in a territory, the territorial amount
Right.
that is based on based on your income, and so to account when it says we'll have to repay it's the $1,200 in taxes based on that amount, and that he's doing that based on the 15% tax rate.
Okay.
Right. So if you're no, what I was going to say earlier is that this amount being added to your income also could possibly move you into another tax bracket. Right. But maybe they have done some things to avoid that. Maybe they're separating the CERB different from your actual employment income. So it probably won't change your tax bracket. Maybe it's only going to be based on the 15% tax rate that they will be doing the CERB amount on.
So in terms of Ontario here, they have, it says here in the other most populous province, an Ontarian earning less than 44,741 will owe 404 more than 8,000 benefit, right? Okay, let's look at Ontario. We're not worried about British, because they talk about British Columbia and some other provinces here. Okay, so why this, like, in terms of what about the individuals above this?
So, what is what this is looking at is basically looking at the provincial side of it, the provincial tax.
Okay.
Right. So in addition to the 1,200, that for the federal side, the 400 is for the provincial tax. So you're looking at 1,600.
Okay, all right. So federal and provincial. So once again, you know, the whole idea of this being free money is false.
It's free. You're free to spend it.
Right. Anything else that we want to make the public aware of, in or our community aware of when it comes to this?
The other side of it too is that because anyone could apply for it and get it, because there weren't any specific you just apply and you get it. You just say that you're affected by COVID and you will get it. Even if you're still working from home and still get it, you would still receive it, right? If you apply for it and if you're not totally honest. So what will happen is that if it's found out that you still maintained your thing, then you have to pay, from what I understand is that you may have to pay back the entire thing if you took it undeservedly,
Okay.
right? If you weren't affected by COVID, if you didn't lose your job, because it's essentially, it was for those who had lost their jobs, right? And so especially depending on how early in the year that it hit. So this 1,200 at tax time, it may not, because if you earn, yeah, it's 48,000 or less. Yeah. So it's there's many different
That
scenarios.
last part that you mentioned there, the 40, the what is it? The 40, how much thousand or less?
48,000 or less.
Okay, so what about individuals above that? Like, why does it say like 48,000 or less? Like, what are individuals above the 48? Will they have to be paying something back as well, or no, or what's the?
You see, that's what this article doesn't say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't cover that. And so it's assumed that they may be taxed at a higher, they may be taxed at a higher rate, or are they getting this benefit?
That's my question. Are they not? Do they not qualify possibly for the benefit based on the income?
Okay.
And that might be the answer to that. That they may not qualify based on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's possible. That, you know what, I didn't research that to see if they qualified or not. That's something I should have researched prior to that, but I'll have the answer for you next time.
All right.
Even though we will move on to another topic, but I'll have the answer next time.
Unless any of our listeners have an answer.
Unless exactly.
All interactive. Yeah.
Unless any of our thousands of listeners right now who are watching live on Facebook, unless you have the answer and you want to put it in and give us some insight on this, because as a matter of fact, we don't claim to be experts on this. We just want to help people with whatever knowledge that we have. And so we'll take your input, just like Osmond told us that it's printed money to keep the economy going. We'll work with that. And so
okay, well, yeah, we just want to make it clear to our people that, you know, they stop saying free money, because you know,
yeah,
ain't no such thing. All right.
What did I? Oh, I have this here. Here.
It was a bandage, literally a bandage. That, you know.
Okay, so in terms of the extension now, they're giving us what, 2 more months? So is that what, this month and August, or?
What did he say? I think he had said, is it to the end of August? At the end of September. There are so many dates flying around, I don't remember. But even in other words,
I was going to say, with this particular extension, I believe kind of similar to when you're receiving, oh gosh, what did they call it again?
Yeah.
Not EI, when you have to complete the form.
Oh yes, with this one you have to. Oh yeah, what it says, you have to show that you're looking for a job.
Yeah.
Right, because things are reopening right now. So if you lost your job, you got to show that you are looking for a job during that period.
Yeah.
Right, extension. So you know, when you go in, you still have to fill out that thing and send it in to say that you look for a job during that period.
I'm looking at a CBC article. It says a draft bill placed conditions on CERB payments requiring recipients to actively look for work and not turn down reasonable work opportunities.
Yeah.
That legislation did not pass, but Trudeau said today that the government will find ways to encourage people to work when they are able.
Right. Right. So
just sitting back and relaxing. Oh, another couple weeks for the CERB. You know, just making.
But then when you look at the amount though, it's good. But for example, someone who is earning 48,000 a year, right? That averages out to 4,000 a month.
Right.
Right. And CERB is only half that.
Exactly.
Right. So in reality, just like Keisha said, it's only a band-aid. Right.
Okay.
You know, so you so want, I think anyone in their right minds want to get back to where they're earning their full income.
Yep.
Because because it's hard to live on half of what you're used to getting for a while. And so that's why I go back to my original point that when we get out of this, it will be a new norm. It should be a new normal financially to ensure that we have the at least 3 months worth of what we need expenses in the bank. Because can you look at this right now? For example, if that was the case, and some people may have that, and then you have this CERB coming in, then that's just an additional amount. You can use a CERB and then you tap into your savings if you need to,
Right.
right? And one of the things that you're going to do because you don't have all this income coming in is that you're going to cut your spending, right? You're going to
Yeah.
cut what you would
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask
normally
you guys to
purchase.
pepper in there in this
Yeah,
conversation with some practical, common sense, things for people
yeah.
to do as far as dealing with the current climate.
Right. Yeah. So you got to now's the time to establish a budget and work with that budget,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? And then what you will find is that if you are able to survive on 20 or under 2,000 a month, then when you get out of this and you get back to working, then you can save the extra, right?
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity to look at our finances in a different way, in a different
Yes.
manner, and new normal, new financial normal.
Yeah, and I mean, for the mere fact that a lot of stores were not open as well, you weren't just going to the mall and strolling, and I think it gave a lot of people an opportunity to really see what the wants and the needs in life were, right?
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, you could definitely treat yourself and stuff like that from time to time, but it kind of forced you in that position where if your natural thing was on Friday, you'd go to the mall and treat yourself every Friday or go shopping and kind of let that money just fly. You couldn't, right? You're that it was kind of forced on you, based on not having the access to go out there and to the drive-throughs and all that type of stuff. Buying foods, going to restaurants. So I think based on this particular circumstance, I do hope that it's woken a lot of us up, based on how we
Yeah.
spend. And if we need to spend, because we weren't spending, we're at home, a lot of us were at home. So the extra need to spend wasn't, or opportunity to spend wasn't there.
So Keisha,
Online shopping.
yeah, that's that's gone through the roof now. But along that same thought there, Keisha, in terms of talk to us about reshare, I should say, some of the information you had previously in another conversation about the whole credit card mix and understanding limits and paying it off and where it is and it's for it to be good and where it's or for it to be bad.
Right. So, one of the things, with regards to our credit, credit has no color preference. When you send off your credit report to the lender, they don't see the color you are. They see that credit number, right? And so we really need to definitely try to get our credit in order so that we can better position ourselves when it comes to purchasing overall, whether it be a vehicle, whether it be a home. Those home, of course, are big purchases. And even in the climate we're in right now, there are people who are looking for home ownership. And, and it comes back to your credit and, of course, having the right credit score that's going to land you the best interest rate, that's going to trickle down to what your monthly mortgage payment will look like, that's going to be affordable. And I always say, having good credit is a difference between putting you in a box and having options, right? Right. Because you might be in a situation where you want to have options, so you have a few lenders to go to. But if you have a bad credit, then you might have that one channel, and that lender, there might be a component to your deal that one lender will not accept. And so here you are kind of putting that kind of make or break situation. Right. So, if you're out there, and spending your credit card, one of the key things is you do have to spend. The bottom line is you've got to charge that card. in order for you to gain some credit, right?
That's for sure.
Right. You have to spend, right? But the key thing is making sure you're paying it off, right? So you're not sitting at overextending on your limit. So an example, right? So if you have a credit card, $500, right? And the limit is 500, and you're sitting at a balance of, let's say, 450, 490. You're overextending, you're almost reaching the limit. So a lender looks at that as you're heavily depending on your credit to survive. That doesn't look good. So typically what you want to do is you want your sitting balance to be below that midpoint. Below midpoint of 500 is 250. So you want it to be below that. We sometimes think, we're sitting at 490, we're paying that minimum monthly payment, it's all good. Yeah, it's all good. Make sure you pay that minimum, not $1 less, right? But you gotta also keep in mind that if it's a sitting balance months upon months on that overextended limit, almost reaching your max, it's more, your credit score is prone to go down as opposed to going up. So if you're looking at actually building your credit, you do not want to have sitting balances over that midpoint. If you purchased a vehicle, let's say the vehicle is 20,000, you want to hurry up and get that. I know it's not that easy, but the quicker you get that down to that below that midpoint is when you're going to start to see some increase in your credit as opposed to it being stagnant. I've had clients who come and they're wondering, my credit is not moving, and you see all these overextended credit almost maxed out, right? So you want to make sure. I've actually had a client once that literally actually put the credit cards in a freezer bag, Ziploc bag, put some water in it, and put it in the freezer, to just control their spending and the way that they spend, right? So, some people will go to the limits, but you have to utilize that card for you to actually build your credit so that you can be in a good position. But once again, the key thing is making sure that you're not having your sitting balances over that midpoint, just maxing out all your cards. Even though you're paying the minimum, that's not good enough.
Yeah, like ideally, you want to keep it at about 30% of what the balance is. So if it's $1,000, you don't want to have to be carrying more than $300 on it at any given time. If you can pay it off, then great. But you don't want to be carrying more than 30% ideally. But Keisha makes a good point at that midpoint. It's good to do what it says to them, as she said, is that, I'm not dependent on credit. I just use it so I can keep my bureau active.
Yeah.
All right. Along the line of what we're talking about, I have another article here that talks about Black group seeks to launch a credit union. Now, granted, this article says it's February the 20th, but it's this year though, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything you can share with us, Keisha, on this here? You want me to read a couple lines from it, or?
Yeah, go ahead and.
It says Toronto's Black population could once again have its own financial institution if a trio of African Canadian organizations can muster enough community support to get the proposed Pan-African Credit Union off the ground. Just, of course, we're not going into detail or anything like that, but basically within our community, this is something that is circulating right now. The idea has been circulated, or it has been, or, what's the notion here? Is it a good thing? Is it a good thing?
and that's what I want to ask too. What's the opinion? With regard, I believe they've tried this before. I'm not sure how successful it was. I say why not? If we can manage that, and there's an opportunity to have something like that in our community, I think it would be a great initiative. I think the question would be as well, how can this be supported? I think we're definitely going to try to get one of these representatives on this podcast here to, for them to bring a little bit more to the table so that we can understand, how this is going to work, how the community can possibly support that initiative. But I do think that, definitely if it could be properly managed, definitely it's something that can be done, right?
Okay.
Wade?
Anything weird on this?
Yeah,
or
anything?
Yeah.
I think it would be excellent for our community if we could
Mhm.
find the right investors
Right.
to in order to do that. I think it would be good. It would be a way of keeping the money within our community, circulating it within our community, and building
Yeah.
from that, and giving our young people something to strive towards. Say, you know what, one day I can own a bank, that type of thing. Because right now we look at the big five, I'm sure it was someone that came up with one idea and then it grew and grew and
Exactly.
grew and grew. And so it's I think it would be great for our community. So KP, if you have a few $1,000 sitting around, maybe you could
We'll
seek
talk
them
about
out
that.
and offer and offer them
I
and offer them the
I wanted to kind of throw in here as well. I saw a post actually in the I think it's the Black Page Facebook page, but it's a real estate agent that actually threw out a question in the group with regards to I think it's what's the Black radio station 98 or
G98.7.
G98.7. Yeah.
yeah G98 apparently there's a possibility of actually being sold. And I think what he's trying to do is to kind of weigh in to see if there's anyone in the community that would be willing to possibly come to the table and come together collectively. So, I mean, if there's anyone that's, possibly has an opportunity to listen to this here, and it might be of some interest, but basically trying to save the station, keeping it within the community instead of it being bought and kind of changed like flow, type of thing.
Yeah, changing the flow. No, yeah, that's a very interesting story right there as well. I think they might need about a couple million in order to do that. So if we have individuals that can come together with that, I was speaking to them, I told them I got $20. I can give them. But seriously though, I know it's been an ongoing battle. But in any case, yeah, it would be a shame to see that leave our community. So we just need folks to, along with praying, put some power behind their dollars, put some funds together where that's concerned. Yeah.
All right. So once again, I mean, for individuals who are just catching us, we're talking about all things money, and we're going to be moving on. We're on here Thursdays, 1 p.m. Myself, Keisha, and Wade. These two individuals are the ones that I lean on, the experts in this conversation here, right?
I just know a thing or we just do two things.
A thing or three. A thing or three.
I just know two things.
All right.
Okay.
So what?
Spend less than you earn,
and
you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
That's one of the things I know.
So
and position
and keep your credit, and I learned from Keish today, keep your credit score high, because with good credit, you can negotiate your interest rate when it comes to mortgages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
You don't have to take what they're giving you.
All right. What about individuals, Keisha, who are dealing with student loans right now and all that,
Well, yeah, for student loans, I mean, it's the same thing, right? Where they're going to have to definitely stay on top and keep paying, making sure. And I want to really, really stress, you got to make sure with your credit limit, not even a penny over, right?
Okay.
Your limit is 500 and it's over by, well, we don't do pennies anymore, but you understand, like not even $1 over, right? You want to make sure that you know what your limits are. Some people, some reason, don't exactly know what that limit is, and before you know it's $10 over.
Stay within it.
Yeah, that's it.
So is it like what they just don't want to check, or they're not in the habit of checking, or
that too sometimes. Both of those scenarios, right? So you want to make sure that you do stay on top and know what your limits are, so that you don't go over your limit, because your credit is pulled and it showed that you're over the limit. Lenders don't like to see that either. right? You want to make sure you know what your limits are and definitely stay within it. Yeah. Yeah.
What if you're struggling? Let's just say, what if you're struggling to pay off a particular credit card or whatever the case is, right? Would you recommend calling the credit card company, having conversations with them, negotiate?
Yeah, 100%. You can. It's always worth a try, right? You know, and you could always, you know, let's say for some reason you're going to be late. See if you can negotiate with that debitor to see, you know, please, this circumstance right now, please don't report it to the credit agency. I will get this to you when I get paid on Friday. Right. I'm not going to say it's going to be 100% successful, but it's always worth a try. You never know who you're speaking with and what the possibilities are. Sometimes, you know, some debitors as well, they do not, you know, they don't report right away. You know, sometimes it could be every 30 days or something. You don't know. You don't want to take that risk, by the way, you know, not putting that out there for you to say, oh, you know, if I don't pay by the date, I have another 5 days maybe, because they're not going to report until this time. You still want to make sure that you're staying within it, but definitely reach out to them. If you reach a little situation where you're finding that for some reason the finances are a little bit tight, reach out and see if there's any way that they can work with you without actually sending it over to collections. When it comes to OSAP as well, there are a lot of people that are in collections, and I've mentioned this before as well. Especially in our culture, you know, that are in collections, and it's affecting you. You know, there's a lien on your taxes coming back. You know, it's not looking good on your credit. There is actually a way that you can come out of collections, right? So if anyone's interested in that, I'd be more than happy. I've created a little, I guess I want to call it a little bit of an ebook, but a blurb of information of the steps of actually how to get yourself out of collections. And I've had some amazing feedback with that as well, where people are calling me, they've owed, let's say, about 20,000, and then something within that process triggers some sort of a repayment discount on the OSAP, right, from 20 to 10,000. You know, so I've had some people that I've given that direction, and they've come back, Keisha, wow, I can't believe it. It's out of collections. I was actually able to get a line of credit, you know, and also I'm getting my taxes again. Who doesn't want to get their taxes, right? Right. So, you know, definitely there are ways, but keep in mind, once it goes back to the National Student Loan Services, it's a mental thing. You got to remember, you have now got to start to make those payments again. Right. And I believe you only have one opportunity for it to go back to the National Student Loan. So if you mess up and it goes back to collections, then that's where you're going to sit until you pay that off. So we have to make sure we know that it's that you're ready to make those payments again. It's a forced payment when it's at collections because they're taking your tax.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. But in addition to what Keisha said in terms of calling the credit card company, especially now due to the COVID crisis, you know, pandemic, I think they'll be willing to listen to you. And then there's a question here. Would you advise someone to use a line of credit to pay their student loan? We can talk about that privately.
Okay.
Because I think
Akeem, I'll call you and we can talk about that.
I think you have to weigh out those pros and cons. Maybe we could kind of you know, narrow that down.
Yeah.
Pros and cons of, you know, that interest rate versus that interest rate. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's yeah. So we can talk about that. No, you know what I think we should hit on the next time. I see our time is up.
Well, we have a couple more minutes because we started a few minutes behind, because, you know, I was gonna ask for some little bit more nuggets, some little nuggets, man, for our community.
All right.
Got kids and all these different things we always run into, problems we run into as Black folks, right? We're gonna, next time we're gonna talk in depth about other things.
Pack of nuggets.
All of that. Yeah.
No, you know, we could touch on the next time, the mortgage deferral, you know, that was being offered by the bank. I know it's probably almost finished now, but I think we need to look at that and see what the implications are where that is concerned. Is it because a lot of the questions that are asked, is it added on to the end of the mortgage? Well, they tell you that it's going to be added on, and your interest keep going. But we can talk in more in depth about that next time. So put that down on your list there,
Yes,
KP.
yes.
Um,
I got it written down.
you got it written down. So little nuggets. I gave you my nugget already.
Yeah. Okay, well, okay.
You want you? I'll give you. I'll say it again.
No, you don't
What did
need
I
to.
say again? I said spend less than you earn.
Yes.
Right?
All
And
right.
then you won't have to go into. But emergencies do come,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that will thing. Now, but seriously though, what I want to leave our
Our
audience with
people,
today,
our community with,
our
yes.
community with today, is this: as we're coming out of, when we do come out of this crisis, there
Mhm.
is going to be a new normal.
Mhm.
And if you're having challenges with finances, take this opportunity to develop a new normal when it comes to your finances, right? If you need to see a financial advisor or anything like that, this mattress thing, if you used to have it under the mattress,
Mhm.
put it, don't keep it under the mattress. See if you can learn how to invest in stocks, or those type of things, these various instruments that will enable you to make some funds. Partner is nice, and basically what partner that works well in our community is just that it's a loan, it's an interest-free loan is what it
Mhm.
is. Right, that you pay back, whether weekly or monthly, however often you pay. It's an interest-free loan. Is what it is.
And it can't be accepted as a down payment. Keep that in mind, right? I mean,
Right.
a whole other story there in terms of, they know our culture saves this way. But if you
Right.
take that lump sum and put it in the account, the thought
Listen,
is,
where is this money coming from?
yeah.
Right. So so that's my nugget. New normal coming out of this. Look, let's try for a new normal.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my new financial normal.
And mine is really just position yourself and come out of COVID ahead and not behind, right?
Yeah.
And that's learning in this whole little pandemic here, with regards to making sure that you're positioning and saving a little bit of money so that if this should happen again or any type of circumstance, that that you have some backup money. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Keisha, drop your social media handles so that folks can reach you.
Oh yeah, so I'm on Instagram,
Yes.
and that's RTS Mortgage Financial
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram, and also Facebook, RTS Mortgage Financial as well. And the website is www.rtsmortgagefinancial.com.
All right. Wade, how can folks reach out to you?
They can just contact you,
Yeah.
and since you're my
You're
agent.
on Facebook. You're on Facebook, right? You are on Facebook, but as Travis. Yes.
Yes, I'm on Facebook.
And you're also on Instagram too.
Yeah, I am on Instagram as Pastor TA or something like that.
Okay.
I don't even know.
All right. Okay, folks. So
All right.
as I said, Thursdays 1 p.m. We'll be back next Thursday to share with you some information or on a variety of things, all things financial, all things money. We're dealing with economics here. We're trying to help our community to be financially healthy. We're trying to teach some lessons. As we interact with different entities in our society, right? We get older, we deal with retirement, education comes into play. We spoke about OSAP. We have kids and we're trying to instill in them lessons. We're gonna get some guests on here, like I said, to come and drop some.
Another nugget. Don't take that OSAP money and go on vacation.
I want to say one final thing. I remember when I was in high school, and I would hear, some would take the OSAP money, they'd buy a car. In those days, you got it as a lump sum, right? Back then, you get it as a lump sum. And I remember one particular individual that I heard that she basically used that money and paid down on a home. It was a down payment. And I always thought, from that time, as a teenager, I thought, wow, that mindset from that time, brilliant.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And I think that's the type of mindset that we want to have, that we are using that money smart, right? And a lot of us, I'm guilty of it myself. I'm not going to lie. I'm guilty of it myself, right? But if you do what you've always done, you get what you've always gotten, right? There has to be a point where you gotta stop, take a step back and say, you know what? I gotta change, right?
Yeah.
And I hope that's where our community is right now, that there has to be change financially on all different levels, and the opportunities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I agree wholeheartedly.
Well, this is a part of the change.
Yeah.
We didn't have this in terms of what we're doing right now, at least not for us anyways, and we're coming together to do this. All right, folks, so we're gonna sign off right now. We're gonna keep our promise. We're not gonna go too far into the 2 o'clock time. So look out for us. This is KP. You can follow me on I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Kenton Perrin, YouTube, Eat Healthy.
He's everywhere.
Free, right? Eat healthy, live free.
He's the Renaissance man.
You can catch me on all these different platforms. So we'll catch you all next week. Peace out.
All right.
All
Peace
right.
out.